I'm going to talk about is the DM316FQ and the DM316 TLV. So this is our, they now call it a global cutter bar, so it's on 99% of the European and also the North American Heston 1376, 1393 and 1316. So it's a welded cutter bar, so quite robust when you're not getting that flex from like a bolted cutter bar. So bolted cutter bars, when they flex, they seem to drop a little bit of oil and then drop a bit more, and next minute your customer's saying that they've got bearing problem and gear problem and whatever else. These are standard width fast fit blades, so quite easy to change a blade. The Heston machines are fixed blade. So the handy tool, bring her up, pull your blade out. They're left and right blades, but in saying that, year 2024 will be these three will run into the middle, those three will run into the middle. Machines with conditioners. Your lay flat mowers will still be the same as this, like the left and right. So that just brings the material into the conditioner easier. When you're putting the blade in, there's two grooves in your bolt, one that goes into the spring plate and one that goes for your bolt. So just put it on the top there and make sure it spins. So your blade will turn 360 degrees, so it sort of helps a bit when you're hitting rocks, sticks and whatever else. Cones to help it feed through. When you're setting up your machine, just measure the cutting bed on the ground. You measure your blade height from the centre of your blade, so 3 inches from the centre. Have your cutter bar on a minimum of 2 degrees, so even sort of 6 degrees. I think he's run that at about 6 degrees. That stops, if you've got a bit of sticky ground or whatever, it stops the build up underneath the cutter bar. Once you get build up, it will build up in between here, and then you won't get that cut, so you'll end up with a row sticking up. For our roller, we've got a spring tension for the tension on the roller, which is this spring, and we've got an adjustment down there on either side. So yeah, so if you've got sticks and stones or whatever coming through, they'll push up, will open up and lower. For your roller gap, you've got this nut here, one on each side. So the easiest way I've found to adjust your roller gap, if you want 5mm, get a 5mm Allen key, put it in the valley of your roller, turn your roller over if it's tight, loosen it off a bit. If it's too loose, just tighten it up a bit too, and make sure both are on the same side. That way you know you're getting the same gap both ends. You can get hydraulic, an optional hydraulic wings for transport, and you can get an optional hydraulic side shift, and I'll show you the side shift at the back one. Swath boards, nice and easy under the black nut there, shift them in and out for whatever you need. Flotation on your cutter bar is done by this valve block. So you've got an indicator there, a red indicator. If you want less pressure, more flotation on your cutter bar, you adjust that up so you've got more pressure on here, the black dial goes up, and vice versa. If you want more pressure on there, you bring your pressure down, which is just a matter of undoing the lock nut, screwing it up or releasing. Once you've adjusted that, you need to cycle it through, so lift it up, bring it down again, and that indicator will go in the right place. So we're in work position here on this lever. To go into transport, you need to lift your linkage right up, and that will take pressure off this bar here, and then push that forward. It'll come down into lock, so then you can transport with no worries of it dropping. To bring it back into work position, once again, linkage right up, pull this out, it'll lock into position, and then bring your linkage down to 750. To get that angle on the cutter bar, depending on what height you want to cut, you can raise this, and it's very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? So we've got this at 780 to get that bit of a pitch for the height that we're cutting, but it's only like 5 or 10 mil that you need to change your linkage height to get that. And then your blade height's done on the top link. And to change the blade height, you then need to put it in transport to lock it all up. Bring it down to your 750 again, that will take weight off your top link. And then yeah, screw it either in or out to get your top link. To take the machine off the tractor, once again, do the transport, so linkage up, lock it in, bring it down to the ground, and then there's a dump valve, this black valve underneath the lock here. If you hold that in, that will release all the pressure out of the hydraulics and relaxes the machine. If you don't, you will really, really struggle to get it off. You will struggle even harder to get it back. 1000 PDO, and it needs to run at 1000. Don't be gentle on it. 1000, 1040 even to keep it. But it's critical that the minimum of 1000, otherwise it's not going to cut properly. We were playing the other day and we were running at 980, and it was sort of pushing material over instead of having a nice clean cut. Yeah, take it off with the lock off your remotes. Always run it in float. Roughly about all the mirrors are up there are for when you come to an intersection. Because you're so far out, you can see everywhere else without running into that sort of the TL, which is this block here, so turbo lift. V brings it up into transport position, which lays across the cab, so you haven't got a machine hanging out the back, and it's nice to drive down the road. RC for roller condition. I was talking about the side shift at the front. So on the rear you've got 3 positions. If you're doing a lot of cornering, bring the machine in close, because your front machine will go around, and when the back comes around you end up with a gap in the middle. So bring that in to on the top link and the lower link. Adjust your turnbuckles accordingly, of course. You've got an anti-collision block here, which is a rubber block. It's held together with a steel rope. What that does, if you hit a fence post, the machine will flip back about 18 degrees. Just leave the implement down, stop the tractor, leave your implement down, back up, and that will then click back into place. Transport position, the black block there. 99% of the time it's set at the factory, but there's a measurement for the thread. Double acting and a single acting remote. To bring it into transport, double acting up, then a little layered across, lay in here. This bracket there will lock into the little rod here, and then you can bolt it on the road. You can then, if you wanted to, leave it in the transport position, drop your leg down, lower it down, use your jump again to release the pressure, and first hand you cannot get it off without doing that, or it's a pain in the ass. And then it's next to impossible getting it on because it'll just flop over. So to bring it back down into work position, in the cab, you pull the lever, pull the cable, rope, that will release that, bring it down, and it'll come to this position. And doesn't matter what you do, it won't go any further. Then you've got to push your single acting, it'll come down into float position. Same thing with your swath boards. You set your linkage on this fella at about that 650. When you bring it down, there's two arrows on there, one on the grey and one on the red. You bring them and they come in, and that way you know you've got your cutter bar level. Roughly, yeah, same thing. You can get your hydraulic wing tips for transport, and also, so this is a single drive, so it only drives on the bottom roller. Like the bottom roller drives the top roller. You can get a dual drive gearbox as an option, so both rollers drive. The reason for that, if you're going into a big thick, like this here is all right, it'll drive each other. If you're going into a big thick crop and you're getting bulk through, the spring tension will open your rollers, and then your bottom roller will spin and your top one will stay still, and that it'll build up, and then eventually you'll just block up in front and you won't cut and just make a mess. So big heavy crop, yeah, go for that option. Same setup with your spring and your nut there for your roller gap. They say they're oil for life. Ideally check them every 50 hours or so. There's a magnetic plug in between number 2 and 3 that you can pull out with the magnet on it. So if you get any clothes, then you've got your sump plug on the end here, so keep it on side, it empties it out. If you're just checking and everything's good, 5 ml of oil, so just a little bit of grass or a dipstick or something, 5 ml of oil is the right amount. And if you have to replace it, I think it's about 5 litres roughly, but it's in the operator's manual with 80-90. Yeah, the same, run it at minimum 2 degrees, and that's adjustments just on your top link, your height adjustment, and yeah, that's about it. The older model was the TL, so when you lifted it up into